Hi, I'm Max Salazar, and welcome back for the next episode of my web series where I am reading to you from my book, Draconum Dawn. We are actually in the epilogue, and this next piece is going to conclude that. And so next week we'll start in the actual proper book with chapter 1. So here we go. This chapter is titled Kira. It was close to midnight, and Kira couldn't sleep. Thoughts of her mother's death raced through her mind endlessly. It was expected, but her mother's passing nearly a cell in rotation ago still took her off guard, and her entire life was in turmoil. As her mother's heir, she was expected to formally sit on the council, but what kept her up was the vacancy of the seat of Chancellor Supreme and the small possibility that she could fill it. She felt that she was still too young and inexperienced for such a role. On the other hand, General Jack would seek to acquire the position, which in her mind, and in those of some of the other senior Quets, would spell war for her species. But who would oppose him? He was powerful. As a council member, she was afforded new privileges and could leave her secretive home at will and without question. She was, of course, not deluded and expected that her departure would be reported and make its way to General Jack, who, as a senior military official, was also head of security. Nothing was ever hidden from him. Kira sniffed the air and picked up notes of the granite that was her home. It was an old habit her species had not broken in the hundreds of mega-annum of their evolution. At this elevation, the air was bitingly cold, but after countless generations of living at the tops of mountains, her species was immune to the frigid temperature. Their down feather coat well thickened. She glanced out into the distance and through keenly developed eyes was able to discern the twinkling city lights where countless humans roamed oblivious to the existence of her superior race. Without thinking twice, she walked over to the cliff's edge and allowed herself to free fall beak first into the darkness. After a brief moment, she expanded her wings and soared out towards the brilliance and freedom of humanity that she grew to envy. With a flick of her left wrist, she activated an EM scrambler, making her invisible to lesser radar technology that gave her the freedom to move beyond the perimeter shield. Next, she enabled a tachyon field, giving her the ability to fly with unprecedented speed. They call it Seattle, she thought, as she soared in the sky. It means to go beyond, but was also the name of the mountain that provided water to the indigenous people. Mother once mentioned a story in which our ancestors lived peacefully with theirs. I will have to read up on that sometime soon, she thought. Random lights spotted the dense forest. A fiery snake of diseased biped automobiles also speckled the darkness beneath her, winding its way into and out of the populous city. Although her field generator allowed her the ability to move effortlessly at whatever speed she desired, the chill air still provided her with some needed lift, and it was that feeling of blistery cold that she missed. With a generator on, she could not sense the tingling sensation that the wind provided as it once used to, caressing her skin and agitating her feathers, sending ripples of welcoming pressure all along her sleek body. She reminisced of the days she would spend flying as a young chick with Aquila, her guard. Mother had just been appointed clan elder, and time outside became too much of a risk to her safety, something she was ignoring at the moment. Kira continued her scan of the terrain below, now moving at a slower speed, and looked down at the electric beauty these people had created for themselves. Another flick of the wrist and she was cloaked in the visible spectrum as well. Peering down, she picked a target to land on that would bring her within 40 feet of the black pathways the people used to commute. Satisfied that she found the spot, she swooped down and landed with a gentle thud. She chose a very busy eatery to alight on, whose employees mistook the thumping sound as the air conditioning unit kicking on. Most did not even notice as they were busy sweating away as they bustled about the hot kitchens, preparing dishes from their signature lab-grown chicken protein menu, whose aroma did not escape Kira's discerning olfactory senses. She shivered slightly as her avian heart burst through her gently sloping chest. Her excitement had caught up with her. She applied the calming technique she acquired from Aquila and focused on steadying her heart. Remember to find your center and breathe into your stomach. and hold it for 4 seconds. Breathe out through your mouth for 4 seconds. And always remember to relax your mind and release all of your thoughts. Do not think, just be aware. Within 2 minutes, she was back to a normal calm, with her senses focused on observing the scene below through her eyes, ears, nose, and mind. Tonight, I am a warrior, she intoned. This is not a mantra. It is a way of being. Kira knew Aquila was a member of the Draconum clan, and as such, a fierce female warrior who happened to rival all of her male clan members. She was a deeply loyal and highly respected member of her clan, which was why Lieutenant Colonel Jack selected her to act as Kira's personal guard when she was born. She listened at length to Elder Insul's speeches and felt emboldened to speak her mind more often than not due to her new position as a personal guard to Kira. But she also trusted in Insul fully, and in a private ritual gave her complete allegiance with a promise to protect Kira with her life, outside of the general's knowledge. Kira's young eyes caught movement below. People were flopping their flat and noisy feet down the gray ceramic surface. Others were sitting while eating and drinking oddly colored fluids, laughing merrily as they did so. It was odd behavior for Kira, as her race ate silently and did so quickly. Yet humans did more than just nourish themselves communally. They also made loud, roaring sounds she could not identify as language. She, of course, was trained to understand and speak in English, as well as many other of the simple languages. It was part of the curriculum young birds of high stature, or any member of the Scientia or Science clan, were presented with. Throughout the evening, she overheard several conversations of no significance. These people related stories that produced spasmodic, muscular reactions and sounds that they seemed to derive pleasure from. What they said simply made no sense, yet they all reacted in the same odd manner. She observed the youngling race for several hours and felt that she learned one key thing. People were social and may not be the warmongering species she was led to believe. Perhaps there was hope for them. General Jack, however, was adamant of their failures. Whereas her choice would likely be to embrace the Scientian group, his was to eradicate them. Uncle Wall, though he was always there to protect her from the senior warrior's rhetoric and assuage it with friendlier tones and ideas. Satisfied with her little adventure and feeling famished, she lifted off the building's flat roof with assistance from the tachyon field. She flew steadily, and after what seemed like too brief of a flight home, she landed by her private quarters to an anxious and visibly upset Aquila, who glared at her as if at her own daughter. So that ends the prologue, and next week we'll start into part 1 of the book. If you are too anxious, cannot wait to get to the ending, you can always go to the website draconumdawn.com, where you'll be directed to where you can purchase the book through Amazon, but you can also find it through Goodreads and through Barnes & Noble online. Thank you, and remember to hit the like and subscribe button. It'll affect the algorithms, and hopefully I can keep doing this for the foreseeable future, reading you my book. Appreciate it. Peace out.